Muslim, Christian, Jew, Hindu, Buddhist, and atheist, one, two, and all in between. This is for the absolute positive, good God and truth of your lives, only crossing alive and well, bigger and better. If you've seen anything I've posted or you've seen any videos I've released, you will know that I state to love all others like you love yourself. Protect them like your own soul, like the pupil of your eyes they are, that you are. And with that, I just like to start this video like this. If you don't know that the only bad, evil, sinful way of you, right, is just a negative way, right, of being more positive than that, and it's the only way you can add up, stay, or be good as truth is to be more positive than negative always, you won't always cross that way. And because you don't always cross that way, all you have left is faith. And all faith, right, is always deficient and less than what is good as truth. Because again, the only good truth there is of anybody, of anything, right, is to be more positive than negative. It's the only way you can add up, stay, or be good as truth. And when you crisscross with faith, right, it's always, again, less than what is good as truth. And because our leadership doesn't know this, doesn't teach this, and aren't this, all this world is faithfully based. And no matter what religion you're a part of or what aspect of what government you're a part of, this is all you're functioning to. And it's absolutely unevolved to the good truth of your shape, form, and mass, only crossing more positive than negative. Like I've stated in other videos, all creation of existence is made of atom matter evolved. And I don't care if this is one or two atoms or a mountain of atoms, right? If those atoms are stated more positive than anything negative, right? Good to the truth of their shape, form, and mass, right? They can't be destroyed. And because we don't know this, right? It's the only reason why we suffer out of existence, decay, disintegrate, or die. Now, the faith of the world will tell you if you're good, you will die and go to heaven, okay? And if you're bad, right, you will die and go to hell. But here's the reality check of that, okay? The only good truth of God of your shape, form, and mass, right, is here and now, more positive than negative. It's the only miracles you'll ever know. It's the only prayers answered you'll ever know. It's the only dreams come true you'll ever know. And it's the only heavenly abode you will ever know or be in. Because all else, right, is only negatively deficient of it, right? You not here and now, more positive than negative, to keep you good as truth as your shape, form, and mass. And to have flesh in the game, right, is what matters. To have your body here and now, alive and well, good as truth, is always what matters. Okay? Now, in the Samaritan tablets that they found, right, some of these Anunnaki kings lived to be 40,000 years old. Some of them reigned for 28,000. I think all together, all 8 of them reigned for 240,000 years. Now, here's the thing about it, right? If you're doing more positive than negative, right, to keep your shape, form, and mass always good as truth, it's impossible for you to decay, disintegrate, age out of existence, or die of that, okay? Now, these Anunnaki kings, whether they existed or not, because I wasn't there, I don't know, okay? But I will tell you this, right? It's a sad shame if you're 3 days old or 3 million years old to die out. And the only way anything can decay, disintegrate, or die out is negative to the good truth of their shape, form, and mass, only crossing more positive. always. If you go into the Gnostic scriptures, you'll understand who and what I'm expressing. I am an Atomist man evolved. I am King Adamus of all God, truth reality check. See, when you know to only express more positive than anything negative, right? That will only keep you good as truth, right? And you can't come to any suffering, death, bad, evil, sinful way of that, right? Well, in reality check, you can't be destroyed for that, okay? And this is the knowledge that I know. Listen, as a fact check, right? The good of all things creation of existence, right, is the God of them, okay? Now, anything God or good you will ever know will only be more positive than anything negative to the good truth of your shape, form, and mass, okay? Now, that good truth of you is to only be Christ-like, okay? It was the example in the life of Jesus Christ, only one more positive than anything negative, okay? Now, the reality check of that is the Holy Spirit of God, of his actions, to the reality check of your lives as an example that never dies. See, you can't kill something more positive than negative. In reality check, that doesn't die anywhere. That's the absolute bigger, better, good God and truth of your shape, form, and mass everywhere. Okay? And God, good as truth, can't be killed anywhere. So that's a flaw in all things faithful religion. Okay? The only thing Jesus did was set the example that never dies with his life. And when they put him on the cross, right, the thief understood it, and he told the thief, you will be in paradise with me. It's all part of a bigger, better plan. He didn't scream out, oh God, why have you forsaken me? He screamed out, oh God, don't forsake me. Kind of like feet don't fail me now. Okay, the thief woke up before Jesus, rolled back the tomb, and sent him on his way, alive and well. Okay? Mary seen the thief. The thief said Jesus went that way. He's standing there shining, happy to be alive, more positive than negative. She kissed him on the cheek and called him an angel. And that's how this story went. Okay? And you can take this to all the physics of matter of the reality check of your life, and you will see that I state no lie. Okay? Because all else, right, that isn't more positive than negative, to keep themselves good as truth, are only living faithfully, okay? And all faith is always less than what is good as truth. And like I said, you are atom matter evolved. And no matter if you're one or two atoms or a mountain of atoms, okay? If you're more positive than negative, you are stated good as truth. And you cannot be destroyed. That is the absolute bigger, better of all bonding atom matter creation of existence to the reality check of all known physics and laws of all God, truth, reality check. Okay? But if you don't know this, right, you're always utterly lacking. You'll think that things cross bad, evil, and sinful, and you won't have no mind to articulate that negative, only back more positive. And this is what's going on with our leadership today. They have no mind to understand that there's nothing bad, evil, and sinful. There's just a whole bunch of negativity in the world. As leadership, they need to cross back more positive always to keep us good as truth. And when they create prisons, jails, victims, crooks, and wars, right, they only do it, right, negative with negativity. And anytime you cross negative with negativity with your faith, it's the incarnate devil of all things, the he shafting devil of all things. To cross negative with negativity is the only decay, disintegration, suffering, and death of anybody of anything. And like I've said in other videos, right, it states all the way from the inside of the atom matter particles that you are, all the way out to the good truth of your shape, form, and mass. And I'll explain this again. Okay? Inside every atom creation of existence, right, are protons and neutrons. The protons are 2 up quarks. The neutrons are 1 down quark. Or the protons are 2 up quarks, 1 down quark of energy, and the neutrons are 2 down quarks and 1 up quark of energy. It's the neutral nothing. They're total opposite polarities. And on the outside of this atom, right, is the electron field, okay? And everything that isn't you puts off energy. And depending on how you articulate this energy with your own polarity, right, either more positive or more negative, is depending on if you're stated good as truth to the absolute bigger, better of your shape, form, and mass, or the good truth of God of you states nothing of more positive than negative to the reality check of your shape, form, and mass, only crossing bigger and better. It's the bigger and better of nothing of you good as truth. And like I said, these two polarities, right, the proton and the neutron are two totally different polarities. And they do cancel out each other. Listen, if you're more positive than negative, you are stated good. That's the truth. And the negative is stated nothing, okay? If you're more negative than positive, well, the positive of you is no good as truth, and it's 1-0 to the bigger and better of the negative, okay? Now, the only way a man or a woman, right, can crisscross negative with negativity is through the faith of them. Again, no faith is stated good as truth. All faith is stated a bias to what is good as truth, okay? And every time you crisscross with faith, instead of going and doing something more positive, the negative, right, it's a snake of energy on the matter of you, the neutron of you, the soul of you, okay, that always needs to be stabilized more positive and protonic to stay good as truth, okay? Now, on the outside of an atom, right, this neutron, without it being stabilized more positive than negative always, right, is in a state of radioactive decay and disintegration, right, to the 1-0 of its shape, form, and mass. And in a neutron star, it pulsates with this negatively deficient energy when it's not overwhelmed, more protonic, more positive, right, and eventually its matter can't sustain it, and it collapses into a black hole abyss, okay? And this is what you do to your body over a volume of time and extremes when you crisscross with faith, not knowing that everything negative in your life only needs to be brought back more positive from the mind through the body to the world to keep you good as truth always to an absolute bigger, better here and now than the negative. So you crisscross with this snake of faith, right? And either it's too much energy and your neutrons turn to protons and you're burning out, or it's not enough energy and your shape, form, and mass grows old and cannot sustain the good truth of it, okay? And it's a bushwhack. It's a he shaft of the devil to cross negative with negativity. I mean, it's the incarnate devil of all things, okay? And what happens is over a volume of time or extremes, bushwhacking your own matter like this, blind and undefined, right? You hallucinate nutty and fruity that things have crossed bad, evil, and sinful, and your body, your matter of it, the neutrons of it can't sustain it, and they collapse you into a black hole abyss, just infinitely negative of the here and now of you with the devilish hills of you forevermore. And that is a fact of God check, God, truth of reality check. All else only cross all negativity back one more positive. The only way you can add up, stay, or be good as truth, only to an absolute bigger, better here and now of you. Because if not, you're always living a faithful way. And like I've said in other videos with our leadership, because they don't know to articulate anything bad, evil, or sinful for what it is, just negative, and cross it back more positive always to keep us good as truth, right? They crisscross negative with negativity, stating that things are bad, evil, and sinful, creating victims, crooks, prisons, jails, wars, and the convicts of us. And it's absolutely blind, leading blind suicide to all they love, cherish, and lead, right? And despise. Don't hate. And in reality check, it's a whole bunch of nonsense. It's an unevolved articulation, right? And it's the only way you can suffer out of existence, decay, disintegrate, or die. Now, like I said, I don't know if those Samaritan kings really existed, okay? But I do know this. Between 8 of them, they lived over 200,000 years. The oldest of them ruled for 40,000 years, okay? And like I said, no matter if you're 3 years old or 3 million years old, if you die out to the good truth of your shape, form, mass, that's just sad. And like I said at the beginning, right? If you think that the good of you, right, through faith crosses bad, right, then you live in a good and bad world that is unevolved to only articulate what's the negative of you, the bad of you, only more positive to keep you good as truth, okay? And in reality check, it's no good as truth. And that's why I've said in other videos, all faith has positive variables. But if those variables ain't lasting to the good truth of your shape, form, and mass, they're no good as truth at all. Listen, it matters not how faithfully good you are, because in reality check, right, it does not last to the reality check of your shape, form, and mass, only crossing to an absolute bigger, better of you here and now, always good as truth. And if you don't have flesh in the game, you have nothing of you good as truth. And like I said, the faith of you will teach you that the good go to heaven when they die and the bad go to hell when they die. But I teach you, if you listen, that all faith and everything it teaches is suicide, okay? And no matter if you've lived a faithfully good life as truth or not, right? If you die of that life, it's no good as truth at all. Because in reality, right, there's only one way you can die, and that's negatively deficient of you being more positive than the negatives of you to keep you good as truth, only to an absolute bigger, better of your shape, form, and mass here and now. And again, it's just sad. It's a sad state of affairs. Listen, to our leadership, I have children. If I don't make sure that my children have a good home, right, a way to eat, drink, proper utilities, and a good education about them, I'm neglecting my children, okay? Now, you say that you're the overseers of us, right? And you're the bigger, better of all society, right? To keep us more positive than negative, maybe not by that articulation, but that's what you're stepping up with your leadership and stating, right? Nobody votes for you so you can crash them out, okay? But when you don't know this, right, and you take men and women, because we're all somebody's children, right, and you crisscross them bad, evil, and sinful, and then you treat them animalistic with cages, prisons, jails, and wars instead of paying no expense, right, to only make their lives bigger and better for you, right? In reality check, right, you're neglecting all you are of leadership through your faith. And it's the incarnate devilish hells of all people, places, and things when the leadership of them, right, isn't more positive than negative always to keep them good as truth. And that good as truth is your shape, form, and mass to the here and now of reality check. And like I said, if somebody says that oh, he was a good guy, I know he went to heaven, right? Well, he might have had some good things about him. But in reality check, to the good truth of their shape, form, and mass, if they died out, they only died out one way. Negative of being more positive to keep them good as truth, right? Only to an absolute bigger, better of them here and now, alive and well. Now you hear in the Holy Bible it says the new covenant. Well, that's what it is. If you understand that, that will make your body new, and it will renew you always with the fact of God of you, what is good is truth, okay? And it's to only keep you more positive than negative always. The only way you can add up, stay, or be good as truth to an absolute bigger, better here and now of you. And like I've stated in other videos, right, the state of one more positive than negative is the only light, joy, warmth, good God, or truth, holy with spirit, all of all will ever know or be. It's the only state that all in body and matter, atoms crossing and bonding, is stated good to the truth of their shape, form, and mass, only crossing bigger and better than all negativity. And it's the only state that all prayers come true, all miracles happen in, all dreams come true, and now the only heavenly abode you will ever know or be in, okay? Now, if you think, well, okay, I'm going to die and I'm going to be with all my loved ones. Well, you will, and it'll be in a hellish abyss of you, right? If they're dead along with you, right? Which is a black hole abyss of your matter, just infinitely negative of you, with the devilish hells of you. Because everything else, right, happens in your body. It happens in your life. It happens to you here and now, good and alive as truth. Okay? Any memories, any loved ones, any people, places, or things that you've ever been exposed to only happens with this body, and all else, right, is the one nothing of it. Okay? It's just negative to the good truth of that. In reality, check, it's your faith run amok suicidally on your life. Okay? It's an unevolved articulation. It's a no good gnosis, right? A no good knowledge. And in reality, check, you're just living and dying like animals. Look, an animal will feel happy. An animal will understand good boy, bad boy. An animal, right, will feel hurt and will feel pain. But that animal will never be able to go do something more positive than anything negative about it. To be good as truth is its leadership. Only to the absolute bigger, better, here and now of its shape, form, mass. An animal has no mind for that. How about you? Again, where two or more atoms cross and bond, more positive than negative, Christ-like, right? They make the good truth of God of every shape, form, and mass you can think of. Not to exclude every dimension of time and space you can think of, and every shape, form, and mass of the God of Allah of all for everlasting peace. By definition, the Christ crossing good God and truth of the Adamist man evolved of all. God, truth, reality check. King Adamus of all. God, truth, reality check. I am the fool, thief, man, God, king, 3 times male. God, truth, reality check. I am. And again, one last time, the state of one more positive than negative is the only light, joy, warmth, good God or truth, holy with spirit, all will ever know or be. It's the only state that all prayers are answered in, all dreams come true with, all miracles happen in, and it's the only heavenly abode you will ever know or be in, right? With all you see, hear, taste, touch, smell, say, and do. With the buildings, trees, you, me, everybody of everything. Creation applied one to the here and now existence of all. God, truth, reality check. And all else, right, is a faith of you. It's a lie on the good God and truth of you at any time. Only crisscrossing you suicidally, eventually, to the one nothing of you here and now. Infinitely negative of the here and now with devilish hells of you. No good is truth of you. To the reality check of your shape, form, and mass being expressed. And that is God, truth, a reality check. Peace.